You is not just a phrase. It's a mindset, a commitment, a personal contract that demands you stop making excuses and start making moves. And if there's one voice that echoes this truth with relentless intensity, it's Eric Thomas. Every single day you wake up, you have a choice to settle for average or to push yourself toward greatness. And the reality is nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you your dreams. And nobody cares about your excuses the way you think they do. You owe yourself the effort you've been holding back, the discipline you keep postponing, and the courage you only show when it's convenient. Too many people wait for motivation, but motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like a feeling, while commitment is what carries you through the days when you don't feel like doing anything. You owe yourself consistency because success isn't built in one big moment. It's built in the small decisions you make every day when no one is watching. When you choose to work instead of sleep, when you choose to focus instead of scroll, when you choose growth over comfort, that's you paying your debt to yourself. And let's be real, life is not fair, your situation might not be ideal, and your past might be full of setbacks, but none of that changes what you owe to yourself right now. Blaming others might feel good in the moment, but it keeps you stuck. Accountability, on the other hand, is painful but powerful. It puts you back in control. You owe yourself honesty, the kind where you look in the mirror and admit where you've been slacking, where you've been afraid, where you've been settling for less than what you're capable of. And once you accept that truth, you have a responsibility to act on it. This is about becoming the person you said you would be, the person who had dreams, goals, and fire in their heart before fear and doubt started creeping in. That version of you is still there, waiting for you to step up, to take responsibility, to put in the work. You owe yourself that transformation, that growth, that next level. It's not about being perfect, it's about being relentless. It's about showing up on the hard days, pushing through the discomfort, and refusing to quit when things don't go your way. Because at the end of the day, when all the noise fades and all the distractions disappear, you are left with one question. Did you give yourself everything you had, or did you hold back? You owe yourself the answer to be, I gave it my all. No shortcuts, no excuses, no regrets. You owe you. Means stepping into a level of self-respect that most people talk about but never truly practice. And if there's one principle that echoes in the fire-driven mindset of Eric Thomas, it's that you must demand more from yourself than anyone else ever will. The truth is, nobody is monitoring your effort when you're alone. Nobody is grading your discipline behind closed doors. And that's exactly where your real character is revealed. You owe yourself the grind when it's inconvenient, the focus when distractions are loud, and the persistence when results are slow. Too often, people only give effort when they feel inspired, but feelings are unreliable. Some days you wake up ready, other days you don't. And that's why you must build habits that don't depend on emotion. You owe yourself structure, a routine that forces you to act whether you feel like it or not, because success isn't emotional, it's intentional. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you delay your own growth. Every time you procrastinate, you push your dreams further away. And let's not pretend you don't know what you need to do. You do. The problem isn't knowledge, it's execution. You owe yourself execution at the highest level, the kind where you stop overthinking and start doing, where you stop waiting for the right time and create the time. There will never be a perfect moment, no flawless opportunity, no guaranteed outcome. But there will always be a chance for you to show up and give your best, and that's your responsibility. When things get hard, and you have to remember why you started, not as a soft reminder, but as fuel that pushes you beyond your limits. Pain is part of the process. Discomfort is the price of growth. You owe yourself the strength to endure it, to push through the doubt, the fear, and the setbacks that try to convince you to quit. And make no mistake, quitting is easy. It's always available, but greatness requires endurance. It requires you to keep going when progress is invisible, when results are delayed, when nobody is clapping for you. That's where you separate yourself. That's where you prove to yourself that you are serious about your goals. You owe yourself that level of commitment, not halfway, not occasionally, but consistently and relentlessly. This is also about raising your standards, refusing to accept mediocrity in your habits, your mindset, and your actions. You can't expect extraordinary results from ordinary effort, and deep down, you know when you're not giving your all. So hold yourself accountable at a higher level, push yourself beyond what's comfortable, and stop negotiating with your excuses. Because at the end of the day, this journey is personal. It's you versus you. And the only way you win is by becoming stronger, more disciplined, and more focused than the version of yourself that wants to stay comfortable. You owe yourself that evolution, that growth, that breakthrough, and until you decide to fully commit, you'll keep falling short of the life you're capable of creating. You owe you is about making a decision that your life is no longer going to be controlled by excuses, fear, or comfort, and stepping into a level of discipline that most people only talk about but never truly live, the kind of mindset that Eric Thomas has built his entire message around. It means understanding that every dream you have requires a version of you that is stronger, more focused, and more consistent than who you are right now. And instead of wishing for that version to magically appear, you commit to building it daily. You owe yourself the effort that matches your ambitions, because it makes no sense to want a powerful future but settle for weak habits in the present. Too many people are comfortable saying they want success, but uncomfortable doing what success demands, and that gap between desire and discipline is where most dreams die. You owe yourself the courage to close that gap. That means waking up early when your body says sleep, staying focused when your mind wants distraction, and pushing forward when everything around you feels slow and uncertain. The truth is, your environment might not support you, people around you might doubt you, and your circumstances might challenge you, but none of that changes your responsibility to yourself. You owe yourself the ability to adapt, to stay locked in regardless of what's happening externally, because real growth is internal before it ever shows up in your results. And let's talk about fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. These fears are real, but they only control you if you let them. You owe yourself the bravery to act in spite of fear, to take risks that move you forward, and to understand that failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. Every setback carries a lesson, every mistake builds resilience, and every challenge is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you think. But that only happens if you keep going. Quitting cancels growth, but persistence multiplies it. You owe yourself persistence, the kind that doesn't break under pressure, the kind that shows up again and again until results have no choice but to follow. This is also about self-respect, holding yourself to a higher standard even when nobody else is watching. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. When you set a goal, you chase it with everything you have. Because every promise you break to yourself weakens your confidence, and every promise you keep strengthens it. You owe yourself that trust, that belief, that inner strength that comes from knowing you can rely on yourself. At the end of the day, nobody else lives your life, nobody else carries your dreams, and nobody else faces your regrets. It's all on you, and that's not pressure. It's power, because if it's on you, then it's also in your control. You have the ability to change your habits, shift your mindset, and rewrite your story, but only if you decide to take full ownership. So stop waiting, stop doubting, and start becoming, because you owe yourself not just an attempt, but a transformation. You owe you is about reaching a point where you stop negotiating with your weaknesses and start honoring your potential with action, discipline, and relentless focus. The kind of mindset that Eric Thomas has challenged millions to adopt. It's about understanding that every excuse you make is a debt you create against your own future. And every time you choose comfort over growth, you are delaying the life you say you want. You owe yourself more than talk. You owe yourself proof. Proof that you can stay committed when it's hard, that you can remain focused when distractions are everywhere, and that you can push forward even when results aren't showing up yet. Because let's be honest, the journey to success is not glamorous. It's repetitive, it's exhausting, and at times it feels like you're giving everything and getting nothing in return. But that's exactly where the transformation happens. You owe yourself the patience to trust the process, to keep building even when you can't yet see the outcome, because growth is happening beneath the surface long before it becomes visible. Most people quit in that invisible stage, not because they lack ability, but because they lack endurance. You owe yourself endurance. The ability to stay locked in, to keep showing up, to keep grinding without needing constant validation or immediate results. This is where mental toughness is built, not when things are easy, but when everything in you wants to stop and you decide to continue anyway. And let's talk about standards, because what you tolerate determines what you become. If you tolerate laziness, you become average. If you tolerate inconsistency, you become unreliable. But if you demand discipline, focus, and execution from yourself every single day, you begin to evolve into someone unstoppable. You owe yourself higher standards, not just occasionally, but as a lifestyle. That means doing the work even when nobody is watching, even when nobody is praising you, even when it feels like it doesn't matter. Because it does. Every small action compounds, every effort stacks, and over time, those small decisions create massive results. You owe yourself that consistency, because consistency is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. And understand this. Your biggest competition is not other people. It's the version of you that wants to stay comfortable, that wants to avoid risk, that wants to settle. You owe yourself the fight against that version every single day, to push past your limits, to silence your doubts, and to prove that you are capable of more. This journey is personal. It's about becoming someone you respect, someone who doesn't fold under pressure, someone who keeps their word to themselves. Because at the end of the day, success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about who you become in the process. And when you truly embrace the mindset that you owe yourself everything, you stop making excuses, you stop waiting, and you start executing at a level that leaves no room for regret.